Hello, my name is Nene and welcome to the Ace Space. Since it is the start of Ace Awareness Week, I had meant to say Aro Awareness Week, I wanted to talk about some books that are either on my radar or that I have read with asexual and aromantic main characters. I'm going to start with Summer Bird Blue by Akemi Dawn Bowman. This will be the book club pick in March and April for the Ace Spaces Book Club. It is a contemporary YA and I will read the synopsis for you right now. I'm super bad with coming up with my own synopsis, so I shall be reading them aloud. Rumi Seto spends a lot of time worrying what to eat, where to go, who to love. But the one thing she is sure of, she wants to spend her life writing music with her younger sister Leah. Leah dies in a car accident and Rumi is sent to live with her aunt in Hawaii. Now, miles from home, Rumi struggles to navigate the loss of her sister, feeling abandoned by her mother and the aching absence of music. So I think she meets a boy who also succumbed to grief years ago, and she kind of finds her way back to loving music. I'm super interested in it, hence why I picked it for the book club, and I hope that people will read it with me. So as I said, this features a romantic and an asexual Aro Ace main character, and I'm super excited. Then I have another YA contemporary. It's called Loveless by Alice Oseman. This one I have already read. I think I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Georgia has never been in love, never kissed anyone, never even had a crush. But as a fanfic-obsessed romantic, she's sure she'll find her person one day. As she starts university, Georgia makes a plan to find love. But when her actions wreak havoc among her friends, she questions why romance seems so easy for other people and yet not for her. With new terms thrown at her, asexual, aromantic, Georgia is more uncertain about her feelings than ever. Is she destined to remain loveless, or has she been looking for the wrong thing all along? This is, I think, an own voices book, at least for the asexual part. I know it's own voices. And I have read it, I loved it, but I do, it's not perfect. And I do wanna talk about that. There have been some reviews about the POC rep in this. There's a side character who's a lesbian and she's a person of color. And people feel like she isn't represented well and she isn't really developed well as a side character. And there's another character who is non-binary and they use the pronouns he, him, and they, them, but he was only referred to as he, him throughout the book, which is upsetting. But Alice Oseman has come out and apologized for it and said that they will try and do better with her next books. Also, a friend of mine has a book club called the Late to the Hype Book Club, and they are reading Loveless in February. If you want to join them, you can still. I will link their Instagram down below where they will host a live book discussion at the end of the month. So the next book is one I've also read and I loved. It is a really short middle grade by Gino. It's called Rick. It's about a boy named Rick who needs to explore his own identity apart from his jerk of a best friend. Rick's never questioned much. He's gone along with his best friend Jeff, even when Jeff acted like a bully and a jerk. He's let his father joke with him about which hot girls he might want to date, even though that kind of talks always makes him uncomfortable. And he hasn't given his own identity much thought, because everyone else around him seemed to have figured it out. But now Rick's gotten to middle school, and new doors are opening. One of them leads to the school's Rainbow Spectrum Club, where kids of many genders and identities congregate, including Melissa, the girl who sits in front of Rick in class and seems to have her life together. Rick wants his own life to be that. Understood, even if that means breaking some old friendships and making some new ones. This seems very wholesome since it's a middle grade, but it's actually, I find it quite difficult to read, but it helped that it was quite short. There's his best friend is homophobic and I think also transphobic, and he's just really mean, which might be difficult to read, so I do want to put a trigger warning out there for homophobia. Beneath the Citadel by Destiny Soraya is a YA fantasy. In the city of Eldra, people are ruled by ancient prophecies. For centuries, the High Council has stayed in power by virtue of the prophecies of the Elder Seers. After the last infallible prophecy came to pass, growing unrest led to murders and an eventual rebellion that raged for more than a decade. In the present day, Casa, the orphan daughter of the rebels, is determined to fight back against the High Council, which governs Eldra from behind the walls of the Citadel. I don't know how to pronounce that word, by the way. Citadel? I don't know. Her only allies are no-nonsense Alice, easygoing Evander, and perpetually underestimated Newt. Oh, I love the name Newt, that's so cute. And Casa struggles to come to terms with the legacy of rebellion her dead parents had left her, and the fear that she might be inadequate to shoulder the burden. But by the time Casa and her friends uncover the mystery of the final infallible prophecy, it may be too late to save the city or themselves. I love that there's like a mystery aspect to it. I mean, I haven't read it yet, so I'm not sure, but yes, I love kind of mystery aspects in fantasy, so I am super excited to read this. I don't know why I haven't yet, actually. That's shame on me, honestly. The book Clariel by Garth Nix is the fourth in the Abhorrence trilogy. No, series. There's more than 3, never mind. And I think that the character Clariel is a side character in the first 3, but I'm not sure because I haven't read the series yet. And then she's a main character in this one, obviously because the book is named after her. I'm just going to read the first one of this series since I'm not sure if the synopsis of the 4th book has any spoilers in it. I haven't read the series myself, so I wouldn't know how to maneuver past those. Sent to a boarding school in Ancelstier as a young child. And now I have a different accent again. As a young child, Sabriel has a little experience with a random power of free magic or the dead, who refused to pay to stay dead in the Old Kingdom. But during her final semester, her father, the Abhorrence, goes missing. And Sabriel knows she must enter the Old Kingdom to find him. It says, with Sabriel, the first installment in the Abhorrence series, Garth Nix exploded onto the fantasy scene as a rising star in a novel that takes readers to a world where the line between the living and the dead isn't always clear, and sometimes disappears altogether. That's super cool, and it has been on my wish list for the longest time. Next up in my list is one of my favorite novels ever. It is called Hazel's Theory of Evolution by Liza Jen Bigelow. Before I talk about this synopsis, I want to give a trigger warning to the mention of miscarriages, and if that's something that you don't want to read about, then skip this book because it's a big topic. It follows a precious girl called Hazel, whose life is turned upside down in her last year of middle school. Hazel knows a lot about the world. That's because when she's not hanging with her best friend or helping her 2 moms care for the goats in their farm, she loves reading through dusty encyclopedias. But even Hazel doesn't have answers for the questions awaiting her as she enters 8th grade. How can she make friends in a new school where no one seems to understand her? What's going to happen to one of her moms who's pregnant again after having 2 miscarriages? Why does everything have to change when life was already perfectly fine? As Hazel struggles to cope, she'll come to realize that sometimes you have to look within yourself instead of the pages of a book to find the answers to life's most important questions. Hazel's Theory of Evolution is a genuine, thoughtful, and ultimately uplifting novel about learning to flourish no matter what changes life throws your way. So this isn't about her being aromantic, asexual, but it kind of is, because throughout the book she has so many questions about things, and she kind of questions like, why do we think that everybody's going to fall in love eventually? Why do we think that everybody's going to get married, everybody's going to have a sexual life? And And does this mean that she needs to have one? It's so precious and when you read it, I don't know, having those questions form in a child's head, I think is so important, because there are people, there are children out there who question their sexuality at a very young age, and I think there aren't a lot of books with asexual and aromantic representation in general, but especially in middle grade. I think I only know 3 right now, but it's so important for children to have that, and also for me, because I definitely cried. And it's one of the books that I recommend the most to people. It's one of my favorites, and just also the main character reads is autistic to me. I'm autistic myself, and just the way she talks about, she loves animals and she understands animals more than she does humans, and she has a lot of special interests, which, or I don't know if there are special interests, but it reads as they are her special interest. And I haven't had the guts to ask the author. I don't know if it's my right to ask the author, but I do read her as autistic. So if you're interested in that, even though it's not canon, yeah. Hazel means a lot to me. The next book is called Tarnished Are the Stars by Rosie Thor. Oh, it's Own Voices. It's a science fantasy novel, I think a YA. A secret beats inside Anna Thatcher's chest. An illegal clockwork heart. Anna works cog by cog, donning the moniker technician. I have no idea what this sentence means. To supply black market medical technology to the sick and injured against the commissioner's tyrannical laws. Nathaniel Fremont, the commissioner's son, has never had to fear the law. Determined to earn his father's respect, Nathaniel sets out to capture the technician. But the more he learns about Outlaw, the more he questions whether his father's elusive affection is worth chasing at all. Their game of cat and mouse takes an abrupt turn when Eliza, a skilled assassin and spy, arrives. Her mission is to learn the commissioner's secrets at any cost, even if it means betraying her own heart. When these uneasy allies discover the most dangerous secret of all, they must work together despite their differences and put an end to the deadly epidemic, before the commissioner ends them first. This seems very high-stake story, and it's super cool. The science fiction aspect of it. This next one is called The Unstoppable Wasp, Built on Hope by Sam Maggs. Nadia Van Dyne is new to this, new to being a superhero, new to being a real friend and a stepdaughter to one of the founding Avengers, no less, new to running her own lab, and new to being her own person, far, far away from the clutches of the Red Room, the infamous brainwashing assassin training facility. She's adjusting well to all of this newness, channeling her energy into being a good friend, a good scientist, and a good superhero. It's taking a toll though, and Nadia's finding that there are never quite enough hours in a day. So, when she's gifted a virtual assistant powered by the most cutting-edge AI technology that the world has to offer, Nadia jumps at the opportunity to do less, experience more, just like the advertisers say. I thought there was a comic. Apparently it's not, so I don't know. I mean, I'm still interested in it because it sounds cool. And then the last one I have is the book club pick for this month, for January and February. It's called Lotso by Darcy Little Badger. I have yet to read it, so hopefully I will read it before the live, because we're gonna, at the end of the month or at the beginning of March, I don't know yet, we're gonna host a live discussing the book club pick, discussing this book. Imagine an America very similar to our own. It's got homework, best friends, and pistachio ice cream. I love pistachio ice cream. There are some differences. This America has been shaped dramatically by the magic, monsters, knowledge, and legends of its peoples. those indigenous and those not. Some of these forces are charmingly everyday, like the ability to make an orb of light appear to travel across the world through rings of fungi. That's amazing. Also kind of afraid of fungi, so I hope it's not scary. But the other forces are less charming and should never see the light of day. Lotso lives in this slightly stranger America. She can raise the ghosts of dead animals, a skill passed down through generations by her Lipanapache family. Her beloved cousin has just been murdered in a town that wants no prying eyes, but she's going to do more than pry. The picture-perfect facade of Willoughby masks gruesome secrets, and she will rely on her wits, skills, and friends to tear off the mask and protect her family. Also, there are little illustrations in it by Rovina Kai. Look, it's so cute. Yeah, it's super cute. And I think the cover is also done by them. So, also a little disclaimer for the books that I've talked about today. I have not read all of these books, so I'm not 100% sure that it has Aro Ace main characters. That was the video today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will stay and subscribe. Please tell me if you have a book with aromantic representation. Doesn't have to have asexual representation. If you have a book with aromantic representation that you really like, please comment them below because I'm always looking for more. If you would like to follow this community, we have a Twitter account that I will list down below and also a Discord server that you can join. It's super fun. I will also link my personal link tree down below if you want to follow me. And thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.